Happy Valentine's Day, Portage County and abroad, and welcome to this week's edition of Overtime. I'm Gage Wellman, and let's get started with some KSU updates. The men's basketball team took on the Central Michigan Chippewas at home on Tuesday and walked away with the win by a final score of 91-83. Two Flashes scored 20 points plus with Marquise Barnett and Von Cameron Davis. The Kent State softball team is currently kicking off competition against a quintet of teams in South Carolina. They lost the first game of the Battle at the Beach to Marist by a final score of 6-3. Speaking of sets of five Golden Flashes were handed some athletic awards. Micah Rienstra-Kirakafe was named D1 Baseball Preseason MAC Freshman of the Year. Sticking on the diamond, three more baseball players were handed accolades. Jake Casey, Ripken Reese, and Gavin Jones were all named MAC top draft prospects. On the green, men's golfer Isaiah Isbit was named Conference Golfer of the Week with a strong third-place tournament finish. A few other awards were Nene Aveen winning MAC Scholar Athlete of the Week and Alyssa Guns winning Specialist of the Week. I'd also like to welcome my good friend and Kent State volleyball team member, Avery Rigney, for her first appearance on Overtime. Thank you very much, Miss Rigney, for taking time out of your holiday. So, the Kent State gymnastics team is currently 6-0. They're having a great year, undefeated in conference play, coming off wins against Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan, and West Virginia. Avery, overall, how are you feeling about this year's team?
I'm feeling great. They're performing great. They're practicing great. They're just overall having a great season.
Honestly, and then when you have specialists like Alyssa Guns, I mean, it makes things really easy. And when a conference that the Kent State Flashes already won last year back heading into 2024, you're really looking at really a whole field and a whole view of teams that you can be saying, I can take care of that. We can overcome Akron. We can easily overcome Western and Eastern Michigan as we already have. But moving forward, we've got a pretty big challenge for the Flash as they take on Rutgers and Michigan.
Yes, February 15th actually, so tomorrow they're in New Jersey for a Big Ten competition, and they have not beat Michigan in 10 tries. Last year, Michigan beat them twice in one season, so, I mean, this year's a new year. They're doing great, so I expect a great outcome out of tomorrow.
Well, when do you think, who's taking home the really wins, the points? Or is it Alyssa Guns, or are there any other athletes you're looking at?
I think there's two or three athletes. There's Alvaline, and she is just a sophomore. She won all-around the title at NIU, and she had the team high of 9.8 on vault. And then Alyssa Gunn, the senior, she's doing great. For the second week in a row, she had a 9.9 on floor. I mean, that's a great score. I mean, you can only go to 10, so one deduction is crazy. And she holds the highest individual standing in our MAC center. So
that's amazing.
We're excited.
Well, that's all the time we've got for gymnasts, but there's just 2 weeks left in the month of February, and that means madness is about to ensue. Coming up, Stone O'Brien is going to talk college hoops next on Overtime. March Madness is coming up, but before we get there, this week brought us a few upsets in the world of men's hoops. 20th-ranked Michigan took down 7th-ranked Purdue, unranked Indiana's dispatch of Michigan State, and unranked Kansas State took down number 13 Arizona. Those were not the only upsets in a jam-packed day of surprises, but we've got more and more to discuss. Bringing in my good friend Stone O'Brien. Now, Mr. O'Brien, how do you feel? This is a great, fun, exciting college basketball season. Lots of high-flying teams and different conferences. What are you looking at?
So this weekend, there's actually a bunch of good matchups. Starting off tonight on ESPN2, we have St. Louis versus Loyola Chicago, which is the A-10 is in a logjam up there between third place. Loyola Chicago can get some big points, and St. Louis can put themselves into sole possession of third place tonight. Then Saturday, there's a big day. We've got 1 versus 2 in college basketball, but before that, we've got Houston and Arizona, which is a battle of Big 12 schools that are both in there. They're going to be competing for high 2-3 seeds. You got Alabama and Auburn this on Saturday night, which is incredible matchup. 1 versus 2. Doesn't see that this often, this late into the season, especially given the way conferences plays out. And then Sunday, you've got St. John's, the Cinderella story of the Big East against Creighton, which is going to be a fun matchup.
Well, some teams that I'm really excited about. I mean, we've got Florida, Kentucky, although they just upset Tennessee. Tennessee was upset, but they've got Shaz Lanier. and Walter Clayton Jr. For the Florida Gators. Really quickly, out of the SEC, who are the three or four teams that you really think can cut up to the upper echelon?
So Auburn and Alabama, whoever wins that will probably be firmly in there. Florida, as you mentioned, but I got a sleeper team. Tennessee, 7-5 right now in conference play, but you know what? They were highly ranked. The SEC, by far the best non-conference season. And when you get to tournament time, best tournament in the nation, they've got all the teams. You're going to play a couple of days in a row. Who's ever going to come out of that will probably be in a good position to get a good seed in March and maybe bring that momentum to a run in there. It's easily the best league in the nation. You got even the teams in the middle, Kentucky, Arkansas. They had a big rivalry game. Coach Calipari returned back to Kentucky and beat them. And then Tennessee, 7-5, like I mentioned earlier. Just a lot going on in that SEC, and it's just consolidating itself with all the teams at top. It's just a bloodbath.
One quote I heard from, and I don't remember the SEC coach who said this, but it was, the SEC basketball conference is a lot like SEC baseball, where you could lose every conference game you have. I mean, it's cutthroat, it's tough, you even have upsets. But let's shift to East. As you mentioned, St. John's, led by the legendary coach Rick Pitino, and I'm a big fan of Rick Pitino, as you can tell. I love to overdress, I love to wear suits on random days, and so does Rick Pitino. He's really bringing that swagger back, not off the court with his fashion, but on the court with his players as well.
St. John's is an incredible story. They recently had a 10-game winning streak snapped. They're going to rebound this weekend, hopefully, against Creighton. But there's a lot of teams in the Big East as well. Georgetown is improving under their Ed Coley. DePaul, who was really in the gutter of all college basketball, they're 2-12 in conference play, but the non-conference slate and everything Chris Holtmann has done, he's a good program builder, and you saw that. He brought Ohio State back up from a couple down years. We kind of stagnated out, and now we got Jake Diebler running things. But Chris Holtmann is doing a great job getting that program back, and maybe in a couple years down the line we'll see them. UConn, back-to-back national champions.
Yep. Got to watch out.
They
for those
are
Huskies.
down right now, not having the season up to their standards. I think Dan Hurley could admit that. The players could admit that. But you know what?
Come tournament time,
come tournament time, the Madison Square Garden, that environment, it's going to be incredible. UConn will probably get into the semifinals, and recently the net changed. So those games will be neutral site games, which will benefit St. John's even more if they keep on winning, maybe shoot up a seed line or two.
And then in the ACC, we just are coming off of Duke. Cooper Flagg tripping and falling against the Clemson Tigers, and I believe the 7th or 8th ranked Duke Blue Devils dropping to Clemson Tigers. But we have not seen a Duke team with this much hype, with Cooper Flagg and all of his compatriots and his teammates. Do you think this year could be a Final Four appearance or maybe a championship appearance for a Duke Blue Devils team we haven't seen go up like that in a long time?
Definitely. I mean, we know they've had super loaded teams that fall short in the Elite Eight in incredible classics. Zion Williamson and Michigan State. Taco Fall and Duke.
Taco Fall, the 1-point win. That was a great game.
1-point win. This year, Cooper Flagg, going to be probably the number 1 pick in the draft. I think Duke, they could very well get to the Final Four. They just need to avenge those demons that recent losses have brought to them. You got North Carolina, your rival, in the Final Four. That's just a bad loss. Coach K's final year, too. Final Four loss. I think it'll be a good test and good run for Duke. I think they'll redeem themselves and at least get to the Elite Eight this season.
And then shifting out west, I like how we go. We went north, east, south, west. Do you like maybe Gonzaga this year or any other Western Coast teams you're looking at?
UC Irvine is actually probably the best West Coast mid-major. Gonzaga, a little bit of a down year. They're actually trending in danger of being in the last 4 in territory. But UC Irvine, they're surely in that first 4 games. They're probably the best mid-major. Kent State played them out in Canada at the Western Jam, I think.
Yep, Western Slam.
Western Slam. That was a close, controversial win. Coaches got into it at the end with a little bit of chippiness. But UC Irvine, I like them. They actually had a game winner last night. And I think if they run the table and make it to the conference tournament final, if they lose that, they could get in as an at-large team. Now, they would result in a bid stealer, affecting maybe one of those SEC teams or those Big 12 teams. Even Ohio State maybe could be in danger if UC Irvine gets upset.
Look out for UC Irvine upsets and maybe the Buckeyes sneaking in. Well, that's all we've got for college basketball, but shifting over to the gridiron, Evan Schofield's going to join me from Couch Island to talk Super Bowl 59, and he's going to ask me, is the Kansas City dynasty over? Coming up, Overtime. Since we were last on, Super Bowl 59 took place down in New Orleans, and it was not even close. The Philadelphia Eagles blew out the Kansas City Chiefs by a final score of 40-22. Jalen Hurts, as I predicted last week, was named Super Bowl MVP, posting a stat line of nearly 300 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes struggled mightily, throwing 2 interceptions, one of which was a pick six to Cooper DeJean. He's not a safety. That really swayed the momentum for the Birds. Welcoming Evan Schofield, and look at us, we're like inverse, the reverse flash and flash.
Thanks for having me.
What was your key findings, your takeaways from Super Bowl 59?
All right, well, my main takeaways, Gage, I talked about this on Sports Corner on Monday, was the defense. And the fact that your MVP, Jalen Hurts, said in his post-game press conference, defense wins championships. That showed they constantly pressured Mahomes. They sent 4-man rushes, 3-man rushes. No blitzes were at all sent by Nick Sirianni and that team. And what I argued earlier this week was Josh Sweat's, what he did in that game was crucial.
Oh, yeah.
What he did to not only, I saw a clip where he one-handed Joe Thuney, and he didn't even have to really do anything.
I mean, honestly, I love Jalen Hurts. I'm a fan of his. I like underdogs. I like quarterbacks who aren't really seen as like the top guy who can throw the ball down the field, the stereotypical quarterback. But I actually kind of thought Josh Sweat deserved kind of some MVP love. Did you see that too?
Gage, I thought he was very robbed of any kind of love because
at least just some mentions, maybe a post-game interview with Kevin Burkhardt or something, Brady.
There was nothing there. Like the impact, one of those interceptions you talked about was caused by Josh Sweat. That Zach Bond interception does not happen. Hollywood Brown takes that ball and goes for about 20 yards if that doesn't happen. So he does deserve some love there.
Yeah, just an all-around physical beat down of the Chiefs by the Eagles. They have some just strong guys, 3 Georgia Bulldogs.
Correct.
And that's got me thinking, the Kansas City Chiefs were very, very embarrassed. And it wasn't like Super Bowl, I can't remember the number, but the Super Bowl between Brady and his Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kansas City Chiefs.
Correct.
This was it felt worse. And the big question this week among the NFL fandom and, the bloviators and the talkers, is the Chiefs dynasty over, Evan?
Yeah, I think obviously the three-peat was down the drain.
And when I say is it over, do you think they can win the Super Bowl next year as well?
Yeah, so currently the betting odds, they are the favorites to win the Super Bowl next year, and Philly's 4 for some reason. They moved down. I don't know why.
I mean, there's some free agents, but
it was very
I don't
weird.
know about 4.
I think they have the potential to win next year, but I don't think the dynasty is something that we're going to see from Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, simply because their line has gotten worse. They have problems, and that Super Bowl showed. Jawan Taylor got exposed. Joe Thuney on the edge got exposed. They need to fix some issues on their team, like wide receivers still, that obviously were no one really saw until the Super Bowl when they, played a very aggressive team. I don't think it can even touch the dynasties of the 2000s Patriots or the 70s.
Let's get into that, though, because between Tom Brady's the Patriots and Tom Brady's win over the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49, and their last win against Donovan McNabb and the Eagles, that was a 10-year difference.
Right.
I just want to be when it comes to sports takes, I'm a precautionary man.
Yeah.
Before we get into they're done, or they're champions, let's give it some time. Yeah. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Mahomes.
Oh, I agree.
And what I mean by that is I think he's got about 2 more championships in him.
Okay.
And if he does he overtake Tom Brady or Peyton Manning as the top quarterback of all time?
I don't think so, Gage. I really don't. I agree with you. I think he'll appear twice or 3 times, but I only think, honestly, he's going to win 1. I say this because this wasn't all on the Patriots, but Belichick stayed with that team the whole time Tom Brady had a tenure there. I don't think Andy Reid's going to coach this team
That's a very good
for
point.
as long as Mahomes is around. And I think Patrick Mahomes is a lifetime Chief. I don't think he moves teams. People have talked about him moving teams like later on in his career. But I don't know. I feel like teams are going to continue figuring out the Chiefs, and that'll rely on Mahomes. And I don't know if he's going to always have the weapons that he's had these past 4 years.
It's interesting you say that, though, because let's take a look at the quarterbacks throughout history. They've all changed teams. Brady has 2 teams.
Yeah.
Manning 2 teams. Montana 2 teams. Breeze, Rodgers. Favre technically had a couple teams there, but he was really only known for one, but made stints everywhere. I'm going to disagree. I think Mahomes sneaks into one of these, franchises that have young talent and wins a Super Bowl in the next decade. Maybe the New York Giants.
Okay.
Maybe Malik Neighbors has a wonderful career. I expect him to. Maybe he stumbles onto any organization with some strength, but that's just speculation. And let's move over to the hardwood, where we're going to have my good friend Stone O'Brien take us through some of the NBA headlines. In the association, Luka Doncic made his debut with the Los Angeles Lakers in a win over the Utah Jazz. DeAndre Hunter in his Cleveland Cavaliers debut only contributed a few points, but he didn't need to, as the Cavs handled the Minnesota Timberwolves 128-107. The defending champion Boston Celtics took down San Antonio and Wemby and company on Wednesday. Heading into the break, the Cavs, Celtics, and New York Knicks make up the top 3 teams in the East, as OKC, Memphis, and Denver make up the West top 3. Welcome back, my friend. Let's shift over from the collegiate scene to the professional scene. So, we're going to play a fun game that I came up with in a dream last night, and I text my producer, hey, our producer, Liv Sharp, what do you think about this? It's called Fake or For Real. I'm going to give you some teams, and I'm going to ask you, can they get over the hump and make the NBA Finals? Not necessarily win, but make the NBA Finals. Let's start with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
They can easily. They're probably the favorites right now to win the finals. It's probably going to be them or Cleveland or Boston, just like assuming everything plays out the chalk until the conference finals, of course. I don't think that'll happen. I think Denver and Oklahoma City will be the semifinalists in the league for that conference, and the Cavs and the Celtics. But the Thunder are easily for real. Shea playing at an MVP level. They just got the talent. We saw what they did to the Cavs a week after they lost to them in a tight ball game. They played the Cavs brands of basketball. The Cavs got Cavalanced, which you don't see that happening too often at all this season.
I'm also going to agree with you. I want to trend towards fake with the Thunder just because they're very inexperienced. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Joe. These are all inexperienced younger players. Their coach hasn't really made it past, I believe, the second round or first round. But defense wins championships. And they have a big man, something the Lakers don't have. I'm really interested to see how Chet Holmgren stacks up against Nick Jokic. But I think they could definitely make the finals. That defense is scary. Shifting over to the top dog in the East, Cleveland Cavaliers. Stone, are they fake or for real?
They are for real. They are a well-oiled machine, and it just efficiently moves. It's nothing really flashy, like, they're not, well, actually, it's flashy that they blow people out the way they do. Tristan Thompson getting tons of garbage time minutes. Like, TT is
He was getting teed up in Toronto.
Yeah, he was getting teed up in Toronto. Said some words on Twitter, dunked late in the game. You can debate if that's good sportsmanship or not, but the Cavs they're just efficient. Everything molds well. I think Hunter, he's averaged 15 points per game in the 2 games he's played here, 12 and 18. So I think he'll continue to take the game to the next level. We got rid of Georges Niang. As much as I love him, it's cutting dead weight, kind of like what the Guardians did with Andres Jimenez and the offensive ability. It just improves that team a little bit. You've got Tyson, who he's got future talent. Maybe if we can trade him, pull him in for some player, maybe LeBron James next year.
Oh, my goodness. Conspiracy theories. But as a native son of Cleveland, I'm going to get a lot of hate back home, but I'm going fake. And here's why, before you all send me to prison. I don't think the Cavaliers are ready. What I mean by that is I'm a big experience guy. I like teams that have shown me that in the playoffs you took care of business. A 7-game, a series where the Orlando Magic took the Cavs to 7 games and they didn't look the best. Mind you, Jared Allen was injured and it's a different coach, but something about this Cavs team tells me they aren't ready, that the Boston Celtics are probably more likely to beat them in the playoffs. Sticking in the East, Stone, are the New York Knicks fake or for real?
Fake. I just think the way that the series are going to play out, they're either going to have to match up with Cleveland or Boston in that second round, and it's just really just casualty. They pull an upset, definitely, but I don't think they will pull an upset. I think the Cavs are taking care of business against them. Boston has. I just think it's top two and everyone else.
That's a very good point. I'm also going to have to go with fake because this New York Knicks team is a shell of itself. Like it's obviously a good team with good offense. Jalen Brunson's a great point guard, an all-star for a reason. But this does not look like a Tom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This does not look like a Tom Thibodeau, I'm going to play 40 minutes and fight you for the whole game team. This is just too much of a modern basketball team. And that's another reason I worry about the Cavs is that they may not have the mental, physical, I can get pushed down and get it up toughness that a team like the Denver Nuggets have. I'll get into that. But are they fake or for real?
The Nuggets?
Yeah.
Oh, the Nuggets. You got Nikola Jokic. He's an MVP. He's taken them and won finals. Upset last year, but you know what? They will always be for real as long as they have Jokic. I mean, he's the MVP. He's probably the best player in the league. He's stacking up MVPs at a rate that LeBron should have probably stacked up if it weren't for voter fatigue. Clearly the best player in the league. He may win another one this season. Remains to be seen. But the Nuggets are definitely for real, and they will continue to be for real.
I've got to agree with Stone on that. I love the Denver Nuggets. And Nikola Jokic, I mean, he's got the heart of a champion and a tough heart himself. Coming up, it would not be an episode of Overtime without a guessing game, handcrafted by our producer, Liv Sharp. Coming up next on a lovely edition of Overtime. Welcome back, my friends. And as is tradition to end our show, we have a wonderful hand-picked game by our producer. And here is the guessing game. We have to guess a WAG, also known as the wife and girlfriend of an athlete. So, let's see him. Great.
It's Isaiah, or he played for Notre Dame. Played for the
Rochelle?
Raiders.
Rochelle?
Yeah.
Isaac Rochelle.
Isaac Rochelle.
Isaac Cooch.
He played for Cleveland, too, I think.
Cleveland.
He did.
TikTok
Yeah.
legend.
He played
Yeah,
for
yeah,
yeah.
Cleveland,
TikTok.
TikTok legend.
Colts, Vegas, some XFL.
Played
I
everywhere.
believe. All right.
There we go.
great.
Very nice.
Thank you guys so much, because I would have, if this was an alone segment, it would have been like silent.
I have
Georgia
great.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. I mean, going off last name,
Is it Alex Rodriguez?
no,
No.
I don't think so.
Actually, A-Rod probably has a celebrity.
Julio Rodriguez? I don't know. That's
No clue.
the problem with this.
Honestly, we're just going to guess.
I'm going to go Julio Rodriguez.
Julio.
Maybe it is? Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Okay. It's a good thing this
get
show
that
is
one.
not taped in Portugal because they would be very mad at me for not knowing that.
We'll send it over.
We'll see. Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne
Great.
Wade.
That was great. Gabby Union, wonderful actor on The West Wing, and in the movie 10 Things I Hate About You. That's a great movie as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very great movie. Carrie Underwood.
Oh,
She's currently married to an actor?
Oh, hockey player, I think. I don't know the name. I just
didn't know.
remember.
Is it Sid?
No, it's not
it's not
Sid.
Sid.
I'm joking.
It's a hockey player.
got
Austin Matthews?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just know it's a hockey player.
I'm only thinking of Tony Romo, to be honest.
What?
But
No,
they
that
did it
Tony Romo.
Oh,
was-
they did!
20 years ago, though.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I
yeah.
did not know she was dating
I'm going to have to balk on this one as well.
Yeah, I'm out. I forgot the name.
Mike Fisher.
Oh, is he a baseball?
Oh, he was a hockey player, so great job. Yeah,
good
we're
job.
still getting into the ice puck around here, so thank you. Good to know that. That's
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan Owens.
Jonathan Owens.
Owens.
Plays for the Bears.
Former Bear,
There it
Texan.
is. Yeah.
That was a good one. I remember that one. And Olivia Culpo.
Name
I've heard
Name.
that name.
Name
Name
both.
What? Two guys?
Okay.
Oh goodness.
Christian McCaffrey, currently.
Okay.
Ooh, nice.
I've heard this
Good
name
job.
before.
Yeah.
Nick Jonas, I think, in the past, but that doesn't
Nick
really
Jonas.
count.
Wait, he's not
Disney
a
Channel. Wow. It's going to be once Chris McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And I've heard this name before.
Oh god.
Can I get a sport? Is this basketball, baseball? These two football wide receiver, former wide receiver. Odell Beckham and Chris. Oh, Patriot. Oh, Edelman.
Edelman? Really?
Edelman and McCaffrey. Danny
Amendola.
Amendola and McCaffrey.
Became a wide receiver.
That was
coach,
a
I
Oh
believe.
man, that is a
Shout out Danny Amendola.
that's a pretty good dating.
I know, right?
Live Sharp. Oh.
I know his name.
Giovanni.
Gio Albanese.
Albanese.
Gio
Gio
Albanese
Albanese.
of the Tiffin. I don't know the mascot.
Dragons, something.
Tiffin
Dragon.
Dragons.
Dragons.
Technically
All
away.
right.
Yes. Liv Sharp's boyfriend does play football for Tiffin University, so
Go
there
check
we
him
go.
out.
That did
Check
count.
him out.
So, guys, and Avery, we are going to play Who is Your Sports Valentine? Now, this might not necessarily be who you are attracted to, but someone you have a deep love and just in a sports way for who they are and what they bring to the table. I'm going to go with Jose Ramirez. In 2021, this guy could have gone anywhere. He could have gone to the Yankees. He could have gone to the Dodgers. Could have gone to the Blue Jays for more money. Instead, he decided to say, Cleveland is my home, and now he is the face of a city. I have to go with Jose Ramirez. And he took a pay cut, too.
It's a good pick.
You know, I'm gonna go with Tom Brady. I don't know, just always. Actually, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. I've got two Valentines. Those are my two favorite quarterbacks growing up. And there's a level of football that you just don't see.
Yeah.
Diagnosing defenses, Omaha. Incredible battles, which is kind of being replicated with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. But nothing lives up to the OG childhood nostalgia. Playing Madden with the Broncos, winning
Definitely.
Super Bowls. And
That was an amazing take there. Avery?
I'm gonna have to go with Tyler Hero. I mean,
Nice.
Kentucky boy. So now plays for Miami Heat, and I got to see Jack Harlow in concert. And
Wow.
first time Tyler Hero is back in Rupp Arena when Jack Harlow brought him out.
Oh, wow. That must have been really
that
special
was
as a
very
Kentucky
special.
native.
Yes, we were all going crazy.
And recently just made his first All-Star appearance as well. I bet
Mm-hmm.
the boys back home in Kentucky are happy. Evan.
All right, so everyone knows about, the Pirates. They've been pretty bad historically. They haven't been good really since the 70s. And that one good year in 2014, bring me back. All right.
Cueto. That's all I can think of. Cueto. You remember that?
That
was
is
what a
iconic.
time. All right, I'm going to go with Paul Skeens. He has brought the fun back to Pirates baseball. He was the reason the stands even sold as many seats as they did, is to see him strike out, all of these stars. So I'm going to have to go with Mr. Paul Skeens.
totally agree. Skiing starts, they got just a different feel.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can feel the energy just in the audio. The crowd just roars at a 100-mile-an-hour splinker or fastball. Just whatever he throws, he's got it.
I'm going to throw out a few names here from local sports and beyond. Anyone got some love for Myles Garrett? Anyone? I know you don't. But anyone? You?
Yeah, I love Myles Garrett. Did a lot for this city. Another name for the city, Shane Bieber. That was probably
yes. I hope he's the elbow.
get well
good shape of
soon.
the season.
Cy Young winner, Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
It was 60 games. I don't care.
Those few starts back in 2020 with Shane Bieber
Incredible.
were like, you would just sit down and you're like, all right, we're winning this game. There's no chance the Indians then were going to win that game. Avery, any other athletes? Kentucky, I'm thinking maybe Lamar. Oh, you're not a Louisville fan.
No, I'm not a Louisville
She is
fan.
not. I just
L's
made a cardinal
down. L's down.
pun intended. I made a cardinal error there. I was going to say Lamar Jackson because he's a
No.
favorite of mine. I'm really just ragging on you,
Man.
bringing up your rivals.
Lamar
and
Jackson,
Miles.
you got to respect Lamar Jackson. He is incredible, man. And,
I do agree with that.
He's a
Even
good
though-
guy.
Yeah, even though I'm not a Louisville fan, he is great.
he makes me mad.
Do you like
But I
Anthony
respect him.
Davis?
Ish, yeah.
Okay, I mean, he was only there for a season, but
Yeah.
probably one of the best freshman
Same
seasons
with
of
Reed
all time.
Shepherd.
Well, that's to all my friends in Portage County and abroad. That's all the time we've got for overtime today. But if you need more sports, check out Sports Corner on Monday at 8.
I'm Avery Rigney.
I'm Stone O'Brien.
I'm Evan Schofield.
And I'm Gage Wellman. And I'll see you next Friday. Happy Valentine's Day.